welcome back to the channel. Just before we get into talking about Stockport County, just going to say, obviously, the Euros is starting soon. I know, obviously, England lost to Iceland, and you got my thoughts on that on Friday evening after the game, where I wasn't too confident about England's chances going into Euro 2024, but I'm still excited for the tournament, and obviously I'm going to give my thoughts on how I think the Euros will go in the next few days as well. Of course, if people want to see that, stick around, stay subscribed on the channel as well for that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well on the types of videos you want to see me do during the Euros, because I'm looking forward to the tournament. But as I say, yeah, with England, how's it going to go? Not too sure at the moment, but hopefully people will obviously be watching the videos, because obviously a lot of work does go into it, and hopefully people are excited for the Euros, even if England maybe at the moment don't seem to be the most exciting team in the world, certainly not in Europe. By the way, I do think we'll perform better once we get into the tournament. It can't be any worse than losing to Iceland like it was on Friday. But going back to Stockport County then, what's the news then today? Well, what I would say is, since we last spoke about Stockport County, Tanto Alafi did sign a new 3-year deal with the option of an extra year as well in his contract. So essentially tied down to 4 years now, to Stockport County for Tanto Alafi, which I think is brilliant. Obviously last season, absolutely fantastic. A breakthrough season, really. Signing sort of mid-January the season before. Was a little bit hit and miss, and last season it just seemed to click for him at Stockport County. So very happy to have him sign up for for an extra 3 or 4 years. How will next season go for him remains to be seen. We know obviously it's a step up in quality. I don't doubt he has that. I don't doubt that he has the quality to score goals in League One. I don't think it'll be quite as prolific as he was in League Two. Because I think we saw that with Cal Wotton, who maybe wasn't, or maybe even Paddy Madden, who in the end did score over 20 goals, but certainly didn't look at it from the get-go. So I do think there will be a period of adjustment for Tanto Alafi. I think we have to expect that. I don't think any county fan, to be fair, is expecting us to hit the ground running in League One and be winning games like we were last season. I don't think anyone's expecting 20 plus goals in the league from any of our players, let alone Tanto Alafi. So I think that most county fans are aware that it is going to be a difficult, or certainly a more difficult season for us in League One, because it is a league we haven't been in for a very long time. So obviously expectations have to be realistic, but to have a player like him, he can score goals. We know that, and I'm sure he will score at least 10 or 15 goals in League One this season coming up. So yeah, it's good to have him sign up for a new deal. Sorry I didn't speak about it, but I was so busy with other stuff going on. But I thought I'd mention it before we speak about this news, which is coming from Peter O'Rourke, if I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I've got it wrong. But he said earlier today, understand that Manchester City midfielder Lewis Fiorini, I'm going to say, has agreed a deal to join Stockport County. This is coming from Football Insider. They're saying that Fiorini, 22, came through the ranks at City, but spent most of his time out on loan from the club. I'm reading part of the article without reading the beginning of it here. Manchester City midfielder Lewis Fiorini has agreed a deal to join Stockport County in a permanent deal, sources have told Football Insider. So it's not official, it's not confirmed, and it hasn't come from Sam Byrne, who we know is very close to the club. League One new boys Stockport have moved to offer Fiorini a move away from City, as he is not close to breaking into the star-studded first team at the Etihad. But what I would say to that, because it hasn't been confirmed yet, if Manchester City do get done for 115 charges and sent down to the National League, they might be desperate to have him back. So just hold on to that thought for a second. But in all seriousness, I do think that if they're saying that this is the case, I'd imagine we'd see movement on it. Having said that, I also read something in January from, I think, the Football Insider, which said that there was a player from Newcastle who was going to cut his loan with Crewe short and join Stockport County. He did cut his loan short with Crewe, but he didn't join Stockport County. In fact, stayed at Newcastle United. Just because Football Insider have sources that have said this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. But I think that it is a fairly reliable source with who's saying this. By all accounts, and it probably is quite likely that we probably have got the guy sorted on a permanent deal as well. Is that a transfer fee involved? I'm not too sure, but I haven't read the full article, in all fairness, before going into this. But Fiorini has also been undergoing a medical today. This is also what he said, ahead of a move to the League One new boys. So he sounds pretty confident that this deal is happening. For a journalist to come out and make these two statements within the same day, he would basically be, it's career suicide to say things like he's having a medical, they've signed this player, and then it not happen. So for him to say that with such conviction, tells me that this is probably true, and we probably will see an announcement within the next few hours. By the time this video goes up as well, it could also be out there as well. So very wary of that. But as I say, I will keep an eye on this one because it does sound like there's something in it. And it looks like Lewis Fiorini. I think that's what, how to say his name. Manchester-born, must get that across. Even though he does represent Scotland, having represented England just once at under 15 level. He's made quite a few caps for Scotland's youth sides, never quite broke into the senior side yet, but 22 years of age. He's a midfielder / attacking midfielder, so I think he's more advanced type player. 5'10". Not really seen anything of him. In fact, I haven't seen anything of him. Let's get that right. And I think a lot of County fans will be in the same boat. They'll be wondering who is this player that we brought in, and I'm sure the pre-season friendlies, if this deal is done quickly, will give us a glimpse, an opportunity to see what he's all about. He's been on loan at a few clubs. NAC Breda, I think, in the Eredivisie, or maybe it wasn't in the Eredivisie actually. It might have been the Dutch second division. 2021 season, then on loan at Lincoln City, where he probably played his best football by the looks of it, just looking at the stats. Then he was on loan at Blackpool for the 22-23 season in the Championship, 13 appearances, 1 goal, and then spent last season on loan at Charlton Athletic, where he made just 5 appearances. I think Charlton were in League One last season, just 5 appearances. Was that injury related? I'm not too sure, but that isn't brilliant news, to be honest, for a player that we're bringing in 22 years of age. Why has he only made 5 appearances in League One last season? It could be injury, because I haven't read much about this player. But if that isn't injury related, I can only assume it is. If that is literally just down to ability, and a team like Charlton, no disrespect to him, but I don't know where they finished in League One last season. But if he's only getting 5 minutes, 5 appearances, he might have only got 5 minutes. 79 minutes, I think it was, overall. But if he's only getting 5 appearances on loan in League One last season for Charlton, then is he going to hit the ground running in this Stockport County first 11? Probably not. Is that the expectation that he should be coming into Stockport County starting 11? I'm not too sure. I don't know what to think. We've lost a few players. Sarecvic, of course, a key player who can play a midfielder, is a sort of midfield / attacking midfielder. I can imagine that this deal is kind of almost a replacement for that. That's the way I'm looking at it, just by position. So if that's the case, and he is coming to replace that Sarecvic role, then his experience in League One doesn't seem to be that brilliant bar that season with Lincoln, if he's only good enough for 5 appearances at Charlton last season. So that is a bit of a concern. Again, not really been too happy with the players we brought in so far in terms of the reputation they have going into the club. They might be brilliant players, I don't know, because I haven't watched them. But I'm just looking at, the reputation of these players that we're bringing in. Yes, they're young players, but they haven't achieved much. And I know, obviously, they're young, so what are they going to have, achieved? But yeah, it's just one of them. What I would say, I suppose, a counter-argument to my own point would be, what had Louis Barry achieved before he went to Stockport County? He'd been a little bit of hit and miss on his loan spell, and the club managed, the club landed an absolute gem in having him on loan. So I could be made to look absolutely stupid, Jay Mingy could be absolutely brilliant for us. Fevrier could be absolutely brilliant for us. And if this guy Fiorini's coming in, he could be absolutely brilliant for us as well. So I do get to an extent, a lot of people are saying, trust the recruitment, trust the manager, trust Simon Wilson. They're going to get it right. And I really hope that's the case. But at the same time, we can also look at it and say, I'm not sure, this isn't looking brilliant. We're allowed to be sceptical. We're allowed to have opinions. And that doesn't mean that you don't trust the manager. It doesn't mean that you don't trust the people behind the scenes. You're simply asking the question. And what I would say is we've brought in a lot of players at the moment who probably aren't at the level going into it that are going to walk into starting 11, but maybe they'll grow into that over a period of time. That's all well and good, but at some point along the line, you've got to bring in players who are going to be good enough to walk into the starting 11. Because when you lose players like Paddy Madden, for example, how do you replace him? It's got to be a player that's ready to walk into the starting 11. How do you replace someone like Sarecvic? Again, it's got to be someone who's going to walk in and be able to be in that starting 11 position. So I am worried about that. Same with Crowsdale, for example. Some people I know didn't rate him. Some people thought it was the right time for him to move on. But again, if you're going to replace him, it's got to be with a player that is capable of walking straight into the team. It's all well and good bringing in these players that may eventually, a few months into the season, might work their way into being a regular. But who's going to be the regular at the beginning of the season? That's the concern. I do actually think Stockport County will have a slow start to the season as it stands right now. Of course, quality can come in. We don't know who's going to come in. We're still yet to see who may well move on with, for a transfer fee. So I understand that, and it's too early really to make a real solid prediction. But at the moment, the way it's looking, I wouldn't say County are going to have a disastrous season by any stretch, but I think it's going to be a bit of a slow start, especially if we're trying to phase in players that maybe aren't quite ready at the moment. But this player, as I say, we don't really know too much about him. I don't think I'm alone in that. But what I would say is his minutes and his appearances last season is a concern. 22 years of age, though, fits the profile which we are clearly looking to bring in. Has experienced League One with Lincoln the year before. 2 years before. A few appearances in the Championship a year ago. So he's got it behind him. I just think last season his numbers don't look great, and that's all I can go off. So if anyone wants to say I'm being negative, fair enough. But I'm just being realistic and give my genuine opinion on it. That's the thoughts on Lewis Fiorini potentially coming into Stockport County from Manchester City. I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below on this one. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you are new. Don't forget we've got some England videos coming up over the next few weeks, obviously with the Euros. But of course, I will be giving my Euro predictions as well before the tournament starts on Friday. So don't forget to stay tuned for that. But like I say, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on Lewis Fiorini. If you have seen him play, do you think he's the right kind of player to be coming in to Stockport County? And maybe you've seen him play, you don't rate him. Let me know either way in the comment section below. And like I said already, like the video as always. Subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.